The Diode SuperGP Champions Trophy is proudly brought to you by Digital Entertainment On Demand and their associate sponsors.
Red flag man moves out of the way of the Red Star Raceway bridge, and that is the warm-up lap now. It heads down towards Red Star chicane. Awesome stuff here as everybody clears the grid now and gets ready to go. Also got to pick up on the fact that we've got two Super M riders here, one of them out of Red Mist Racing and Otto Racing. That is Johan Otto himself, and that man there in shot, Mr. Red Star Raceway, that is Jacques van Wijngaard on the Red Star Raceway BMW.
He's got a couple of bikes to choose from, Jacques, but he seems to be one of those guys that can get on with the power delivery of the BMW. Feels very comfortable with it. Got a good setting on the bike as well, so he'll feel very comfortable. And if he has to turn some practice laps, he knows a guy who knows how to get onto a track. So yeah, he'll be turning some laps. But this will be the longest race, apart from the sessions where we run in the 24-hour races here and the endurance series that runs here, the Suzuki endurance series, that he will run this many laps in a sprint event.
Well, remember that speaking of that endurance series that Odin and Suzuki put in, it's the Bell Helmets 8-hour that happens here next weekend, and that's on Saturday. So we've got sprint racing here this Sunday. Next Saturday we come back here for the second round of that endurance series, the 8-hour. And that's being sponsored by Bell Helmets, and I'm sure that Lance Isaacs will probably be sticking around for that because he is now the Bell Helmet ambassador for South Africa and has been doing a great job to get those really good helmets back up into the mix and back into the flow for normal riders like you and I.
Have you seen that? Have you picked up that helmet? It weighs nothing. Absolutely nothing. It's incredible what they're doing with helmet technology nowadays. So right now we've got the Super M's. Unfortunately, a couple of the Super M riders from the previous rounds, and a lot of them have been the Moto Klerksdorp KTM riders, Van Loggenberg, Jannie Moll, and of course the man that's leading the championship. Should still lead the championship as well coming out of this round.
Will do.
Old Bu Levy, just unfortunately not having a good run down at Cape Town and getting beaten by Cape Town. It was an unfortunate situation. Gave us some good racing, but the big loser of that scenario, unfortunately, was Bu Levy, and our commiserations to him. But he still leads the championship, and he still should be able to head to our next round at Port Elizabeth, saving a few pennies to put into the big diesel van of his that has racked up more miles than most. But right now, we're lining ourselves up. It's race number 1 of the Super GPs category at round number 4 of the Diode SuperGP Champions Trophy here at Red Star Raceway, and it's Yamaha 1, 2, and 3 on the front row.
Waiting for the lights now. We've got a green flag at the back. Lights are on. As soon as those go off, we go racing and watch for the drop off the line. Oh, Isaac's got a good start. He comes from behind and goes past Brandon Good. Nice move there from Kershaw, but it is Scholz, the Umschlanger rocket, and around the outside. Here comes Harron. Harron's up to second into the first chicane.
In off the block, so can you believe it? Harron fired up. Doesn't matter about his qualifying. Didn't get a good run out onto the N4 though, and it looks like the number 1 of Seller may be able to come up and past, and he does. Under horsepower. Scholz leads down into the big turnaround at the bottom of the hill. Seller has recovered to get back into second place, but the story once again, as it was off the gate in Cape Town, Harron third.
Yamaha 1 and 2, Kawasaki's in third place. Fourth place looks like it is the second of the Yamahas of the M-Tech Nashua brand. And no, it's not. Look at that, sneaking through there. That is Kershaw.
So
Kershaw
good off,
first of the BMs.
So good off the start line when it all goes his way. So Kershaw is on the money. Isaacs has come through as well, and he is going to have to start plying the field.
Oh, a little moment there for Lance.
He had a massive moment, not a little moment. That thing was twitching all over the place. So definitely tires are a bit of a situation right now on the Black Swan. Oh, it's all over the place. Isaacs, even though he is running right now ahead of Goody, is really battling with the front end of that BMW.
Ahead of Goody for a while, but Brandon Good definitely had a look up the inside and maybe just said, no, hang on a second.
He's actually
just wait a second.
In the dog bones. In fact, Goody is getting held up massively. He's having to sweep around the outside.
Look at that.
He's going to have to show a line up the inside here. Isaacs does not have a setup on that Black Swan BMW to go through the dog bones.
And now he's into the complex, NGL Logistics Complex. Isaac's battling with the setup on that bike, and you can see Brandon Good, he's having to back out, and that's not what you need to do. He needs to get through, actually, and try and get away from Lance Isaacs.
Kershaw is doing a good job on the 55 Tsunami Beach Bar, the first of the BMWs, and that's going to be a good recovery from him after walking away with nil points at the Cape Town round. At the front, though, 1, 2, and 3 stretching out. 4th place, I think this is the one that's going to keep us on our toes for a while, Greg.
It's lovely to see this sort of battle. In fact, it's not normally what we were looking at. We'd be looking at the front end. But we'll get back to them in a few seconds' time. Scholz from Sella and Harron are your leaders as they go down the N4. And Harron losing a little bit of ground. Those Yamahas seem to... look at the top end.
The Yamahas have definitely got the top end. As we saw with the R6, the Yamaha top end is near unbeatable. And this is what you and I were looking at coming into the season. On paper, the Yamaha is the bike, by far, the bike to beat. So it didn't look like it when it first came out. But now they've put a bit more development into it. It's going to be very hard for Harron to run on a, let's call it a 5-year-old design of bike, to run against the latest machinery. It's going to be very, very, very difficult.
And 2 BMWs fighting with the third of those Yamahas. That's Brandon Good on the MTech Nashua Yamaha.
In fact, Greg, just to stay with my thought there for a second, when you and I were talking with the manufacturer, oh, there we go, Isaacs just goes for the do or die, and that's going to be a real good block pass on Kershaw. When you and I were talking before the season, it looked like, on paper, the Yamaha was going to be stronger, then the second pick would be the BMW, then it would be Kawasaki's, but it was always going to be a tricky situation to fit into the price bracket restrictions at the top end of National Superbike racing. The cheaper option is the Kawasaki, but now it just does not have enough power.
I think that's what we're going to be looking forward to when we get into the next season, and possibly the return of Kawasaki from a factory-supported point of view. If they can find something special on the new brand and the new bike. We know that Honda are coming with a machine that also on paper could be a very, very big factor in next year's SuperGP Champions Trophy.
Seen that thing, man, oh man, that thing's ridiculous. But then again, we said the same thing about the Yamaha. The two Yamahas now are breaking away. There's a huge gap, almost 2 seconds to go pick up on Brent Harron, and the situation is that Clinton Sella is the fastest man on track. He bangs in a 151.8 to close in on the back wheel of Scholz, and it's a Yamaha show out front.
Cool as you like.
As you like.
Did you see the look back?
Yeah.
From Scholz going on to the N4?
Everything
Where
she had.
Oh, you're over there. Okay,
throttle all the way to the stop, wound up twice, and just looking over at Sella. And to be honest, I don't even think he was looking at Sella. He was looking where Harron was. He just wants to know that these two can run. I just can't believe the gap that they've pulled in 2 laps over Harron. It's massive.
Yeah, it's incredible bit of riding from these two to get away at 3.5 seconds. And I think that's going to be enough to give them a chance to just fight mano a mano here. And of course, tuning fork versus tuning fork.
I'll say it once, I'll say it again. I've said it a million times already. The dog bones and the mid-corner power delivery is what you need at Red Star Raceway. If you don't have it, you cannot win.
The Kawasaki is going to have to settle for third. I don't think Harron's going to have anything here. Nice battle for 5 and 6, though, as Goody has a look. Can he get through? Yes, he can.
Yeah, it's a nice one. It's a real good setup there. Again, this is going to come down to control under braking and entry speed. And the Yamahas, they look like such a small, light bike, and I think it's just going to be much easier to handle it. I think actually looking forward into next year, a couple of smaller riders out there that at the moment are on different brands, you know of who I speak, will have to consider a different machine if they want to run out front.
Yeah, that's for sure. But, of course, depending on what the arrangements are and what your deal is with those manufacturers, it keeps you behind the steering column and the forks of these bikes. Not going to be that easy to flick it out and change manufacturers unless it's absolutely necessary. And right now, you can see that it is pretty much necessary to be on a Yamaha to win.
0.1 between the top 2 Yamaha riders riding out of Neo Life powered by Yamaha Racing and MTech Nashua Racing respectively. Then 4 seconds behind is Brent Harron in third.
I'm going to say it's about 4.5 as they hit the bottom of the straight there and into the dog bone.
Because at the bottom of the straight, they've already stretched it out once again. It's the top end power as we go back and pick up on the Super M battle. Good run here going for Johan Otto, staying ahead of Jacques van Venkart. And the top 2, let's see what kind of times these guys are running. Just outside the 2-minute bracket. I think Johan, on his good days, can run a 59, as can Jacques. At the moment, they're on a 2:01. So conditions not perfect for the Super M Red Star Raceway in-house battle.
Yeah, I think they're also going to have a bit of fun and games between the two of them.
Oh, yeah.
They've decided, you know what, there's only 2 of us. Let's go and have a bit of a battle, have some fun. You go to the front, I'll go to the front. Bit of choreography maybe initially, but then every man for himself with a certain point in the race reached.
Okay, so this is just going to be a strategy race. You can see it the whole way through. Sella's just going to let Scalzi lead this one out.
52.5 coming out of the man that leads out. That's the fastest lap, but not the fastest lap of the race so far. Fastest lap of the race so far has been a 51.8. 51.8 around here in my calculations. 51.9 they got yesterday. That was an unofficial lap record. That is a new lap record. And up the inside goes the man who's just set that. And
and it gets ugly.
Bar to bar.
Gets ugly. He showed the wheel and then kept showing it, and then showed more of it, and then showed it again. And Sella finally comes through. So he's going to lead across the stripe, and he's going to try and break Scalzi. Fastest lap of the race came out of Clinton Sella 2 laps ago on lap 2. And now he is going to try and get the hurry up. He wants to not just win, he wants to rub everyone's nose in it and dominate.
Has to try and do that now here this weekend.
That's the only reason he's hit the front now. He wants to run and really hurt Matthew Scalzi.
Not an easy thing to do with Matthew Scalzi. With a similar kind of... Oh, take that. I'll come back and show you some of them apples. How's that?
Yeah, so at the bottom of the N4, Scalzi on the M-Tech Nashua Racing Yamaha takes it back. Not going to matter. Really, this is still a 2-horse race. Normally, we'd be saying that third place will be closing down because they'll slow the pace. They are not slowing the pace. They will stay in the low to mid 52 brackets.
So 52 brackets is what you need to run around here to be leading. You need to possibly be on a tuning fork machine. And Kawasaki of Brent Herron look good, has always looked good, especially with Brent Herron on it, and of course with the Metal Center and Odin and the R&D guys working hard to get that right, and KBD doing the spray work. It's exactly what they wanted to do. Unfortunately, they've just been found wanting here today, and it looks even like Clint Sella could be found wanting, because Matthew Scalzi has decided, okay, if you want to up the wick, let me show you what I can do on this bike.
That might have been a huge mistake in hindsight for Sella rubbing Matty Scalzi the wrong way, because it's made him angry.
Oh, Scalzi sits up though, look at that. He's sitting away. I think he's playing here with Sella. Oh no, he's made a mistake. Too casual. Too much of Harry Casual going into that little section, and it's cost him.
You could see down the short straight there, the shortest straight on the circuit, that he said to Sella, come.
Come. All yours.
Come, it's yours. I'll follow you.
I'll follow you. I'm not worried.
Unfortunately, because of the depleted field, this has...
quarter speed. Man alive, have a look back there, Fabian Ferret style.
This has turned into a 2-horse race, and we have still got 10 laps of racing to go.
Oh, I don't know about this, buddy. I'm not too...
This is a PR exercise for Yamaha right now.
Yeah, and it could be a PR nightmare as well if they take each other out. Oh, big look back there once again from Matthew Scalzi. He's concerned, but I don't know why, because they've nearly got the entire N4 straight ahead of Harry.
He's only concerned, or considering to be concerned, because they have slowed the pace with their in-house duking in and out. And you can see the overall pace is definitely just come down. They're probably kicking around about the 53s now. Yeah,
53.0, 53.1 out of Scalzi and Sella respectively. 0.2 of a second between them though, and then 3.5 down to Herron. 3.3 to be exact. Nice battle there. 6.2, 6.6 between Isaacs and Brandon Good. That's looking good. And of course Kershaw there too.
Scalzi actually climbing the curbs up the inside there. This is for Yamaha, and there's massive support. In fact, all of the big dogs from Yamaha are here in the house. Nick, on his first week of doing PR for Yamaha, is getting an absolute gift of a job here, as he's just watching Yamaha dominate now that they've had a little bit of extra development. Not long as well, only 4 weeks of development for these bikes to actually get them into full race prep beasts and shake out all the niggles. And they are just putting on a masterclass here.
Another little wheel up the inside there just to show Sella that he hasn't disappeared. He'll hear the bike behind him. He's not going to be worried about that. But
lovely sounding bikes, these.
Have a look up the inside.
Little stab up the inside.
How you doing? I'm fine, and you good? Right, I'm still here. That's what it's all about.
Update on the gap back to Herron. It is now stretched out to 8 seconds. That's huge. The problem is that Isaacs... And we're going to be picking up on the battle a little bit later. Good shot from the guys on the bridge there looking down. But Isaacs in 4th place is one of the fastest riders out there and closing in on Herron. He's only 2 seconds off it. That's not too far in a grand scheme of things with a long way to go in this race. Heading in to the halfway marker.
Now look in the background. There's Herron. And there's Isaacs.
Yeah,
so
as you can
it's
see
not
it.
too far away.
Well, Isaacs, Good, and Kershaw are a bit of a freight train as well. There's not much between them. Well, Kershaw quite a long way off, but Isaacs and Goody are very close together.
Harron to Good is 3 seconds, so there's a good possibility we'll see a three-way battle there pretty shortly. The two-way battle at the front, though, between these two has not ended yet.
Bit of a joke, though, this, isn't it? Because they are really slowing the pace down. They're now into the 54s. For them, this is like a track day. 54 would be my best race ever, and I would quit there and then. But these guys are just cruising on 54s right now.
Just biding their time. We spoke about the card play that was happening in the 600s, a bit of a chess match here. Oh, and I think the Blue King just went up the inside of the reigning King. Sure, incredible stuff.
Lofts the wheel coming out of Discover Digital Pirelli. And then into the big 180 right-hander here. Portable shade, 180. Sets you up into another left-hander 180. The good way about running the track in this format is you genuinely have an even number of left to rights. You won't always be on the corner as long as you are the one way compared to the other, but you do keep temperature in both sides of the tires.
I'm loving the fact that, especially on this kind of shot where the sun is in the background, it gets burnt out ever so slightly, and not to take anything away from our cameraman's ability, he's shooting into sunlight there. But if you pick up on this shot, you won't see it as much. But in that sort of fading light and the burnt up light in the background, I just had a look and had a bit of deja.
Oh, Isaacs!
No! Isaac's down in the background. Let's forget about that thought, Maloney.
Oh, good grief. So
wow, Lance Isaacs on the corner where he's losing the back end, loses the back end big, and he's down.
He was really pushing it. He was the man on the fly. He was third fastest rider on track at the time of going down, and he was confirmed closing down on Harron. Now it's changed. Harron has got a little bit of breathing space between himself and the man behind, which is now a 3-second gap to Goody, who now sits in 4th place. But Isaacs is done in this championship now. He was really battling. Now he's done.
It doesn't look too much damage to the bike, but I did see that the rider wasn't really moving around. He's just lying there a little bit winded, I would say. I think he is a very fit young man, so definitely...
It's a very strange place for the crash to start. I think he was actually too wide on the entry and may have lost the back end on the way in.
Kind of what I was picking up in the qualifying in Superpole. Remember, both those BMWs coming out of there were losing the back end rapidly.
Well, that was under power. This was on the way in. In fact, he lost the front end or the back end right at the braking marker. So
I wonder if we've got
possibly a front end just getting tucked in. So, yeah, I mean, we just saw a dust barrel just come flying across the shot there. And that's right at the beginning of the tip-in point.
Here it comes. This is from, and Goody was lucky to miss there. Goody was lucky to miss. That was from the reverse angle, so the cameraman picking it up from the reverse angle. We did have a shot from it from the front as well. As we don't Senna's down as well.
I can't believe
Senna's gone down too. Can you believe this, eh?
So
wow.
while we were reviewing Lance Isaacs going down in 4th place, Sella, who was in the race lead, has gone down in spectacular fashion, and it's the front end. He has lost the front end under braking.
I don't want to say this, but it happened last year at this track, and Brent Harron went on to take a victory.
Exactly. So this
the
is
first time Harron's taken a victory is because of a mistake coming out of the number 1 plate. Look back as much as you want, but there is no one in sight, Matthew Scholz.
We are on our comms speaking to our camera guys to see who got it and holding everything and crossing thumbs. But I'll tell you what, the situation now is it was going to be a Yamaha victory no matter what. The question mark was going to be who was it going to be. Now it is confirmation, the big build-up that we were talking about. We are on. Please let's not put a curse on him, but we are on. Should nothing change from this point on, for a 4th winner of the season and the first Yamaha victory of the year is on to go for Scholty. So Matthew Scholz is going there. There is a replay of Sella picking his bike up. Is that him down again? Is that the replay? Okay, we're getting a replay of Sella and just collecting his bike. All right, so out on circuit, just picking up on some shots of Jacques van Vankot. He's on the 52 Red Star Raceway BMW. He sits in 6th place at the moment. And incredibly enough, climbing up as Lance Isaacs has had his problems. Sella has remounted and is currently in 4th place on the track. And I'm trying to see what the gaps are. It's going to be very, very, very hard for him to close things down and recover. At the moment, it's Scholz over Harron, over Goody, and what a turnaround for the championship this could be. This may see Brent Harron coming in to a championship points lead.
Yeah, good possibility if he keeps it where he is right now, which is 2nd place on the road. So
drama, Greg, drama.
Just non-stop here. And considering the fact that we've got so little riders on track, we can't afford this kind of drama. This is the kind of stuff that you don't want at this point of the season. You want to be having the riders fighting with each other, staying upright, getting championship points in the bag, consolidating. It's all gone wrong for the championship leader.
With 5 laps still remaining in this first heat of the SuperGP Champions Trophy, SuperGP category, we are looking at a 14-second lead that Matthew Scholz has over Brent Harron. That's almost unheard of in national championship racing.
It's equidistant down to 3rd place of Brandon Good, and then it's about 5 seconds to Sella. Sella has, if the bike is working okay, a chance to maybe salvage a podium.
Yeah, 5 seconds he's got to find, like you say, if the bike's working okay. And we've seen Sella actually ride a bike with things hanging off it, brake levers broken, brake levers flipped up, all kinds of situations. So it depends on how the guy's head is at this stage, but he may be seeing his championship points lead taken away from him.
Yeah. Another important factor, of course, is that he's gone down. And we've also seen Sella win a race or get a 2nd place in a race, sliding on his letters across the start-finish line.
Arush and Mudley back in the day.
Yeah. Exactly. The 2 little clips at East London going over the main straight and to finish the race.
So the big question mark coming into this round was not if a Yamaha was going to win, but who was going to be the winning Yamaha. Look at Goody. This may still be a Yamaha 1-2 come that. So Goody has done some development within this race and come on strong. There's Sella in the background.
Sella's
so
in the background.
It still looks like it's not 5. It looks like it might be just under 3 seconds. But Goody is making inroads onto the back end of Harron, but quickly. So there may be a change up for 2nd place. The 71 is coming on strong, and the 77 looks in trouble. In fact, he's looked in trouble the whole time through this race weekend.
7s and 1s is what it's all about for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place on the track. As they come across the line, I picked up on that a little bit earlier on, Matt. Brent Harron doesn't look as comfortable as we've seen him before. I'm not quite sure if he's putting his own pressure onto himself, or maybe he's just trying to get the momentum that he's picked up and try and maintain that momentum. It's not easy to do. There's a lot of pressure on these riders, and you can see just how hard he's having to work to keep Brandon Good at bay. But in the background, more importantly,
2.8 seconds.
Sella.
2.8 seconds is the gap between Sella, his front wheel, and Brandon Good's rear wheel. That is for 3rd place, and it will be massively important. Doesn't matter about the win. The win is gone. Yes, Sella wanted it, but right now, Sella wants as many points as he can get, and Harron, yeah, like you say, that thing just, it looked great. It looked awesome the whole way through qualifying. The time wasn't there, but it looked like it was on rails. Now the bike just looks loose, and Harron is in big trouble. Goody is coming on strong, and Goody has to make this pass, and he has to make it quickly, because that gap has now come down to 1.5 seconds. Sella is closing in. There's going to be a 3-way split very soon. I'm not worried about Scholty. Scholty is out front. He is gone. The battle now is going to be for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
Slipstream and up the inside. Oh, Brandon Good runs wide. He looked up the inside. He managed to sneak through under the slipstream effect, but couldn't quite make the corner.
That's all good news for Sella. Watch Sella. He's appearing in the background. It's less than a second now. Harron is a roadblock, and Goody will be screaming under his shoey helmet to try and get past.
3 laps and 3 corners to go as they punch it into the NGL Logistics Complex. Good round the outside. Brandon Good going to try and cut the apex tight and get the drive towards the final turn. They'll try and outgun the Kawasaki, but look out. Here comes the Near Life Racing, powered by Yamaha R1 of Sella.
Goody,
what a recovery.
Goody is getting robbed here, but this is danger zone for Sella because he's got to make 2 passes real quick. There is no teammate there to help him. These are 3 independent riders, and Sella is desperate to get through. He's got a strong bike. He may be able to get the double slip down the N4. He's caught them possibly at the best time that he could.
Good, there's a little sit-up coming out there, so didn't quite get the drive he wants. But you can see very evenly matched between those two Yamahas. They quite catch onto the back end of the Kawasaki. It still has some decent pace.
It's got good bottom end. I think it doesn't really have the top end legs now when you compare it apples for apples to the Yamahas. But now we come into the dog bones, and Sella will be frustrated. He's very good at this section, and he's going to get held up.
Nice move here, just going on the defensive. I think Brandon Good realizes that Sella is there, and he's going to have to try and remain defensive. Not too much, otherwise he'll lose ground to Harron. But I think his best bet is to try and get Harron between himself and Sella, and then concentrate on getting away.
Well, Goody needed to make this pass 2 laps ago. I think his chance of a podium are really in trouble now. He hasn't been able to make the pass on Harron. Harron, if he has to, will block the lines the whole way for the next 3.5 laps. But you got to know that the number 1 is coming through. There you go. That's it. He had to make that pass, and he's done it just at the right time. Covers the line now, and he puts Harron between himself and Sella. Goody runs wide, but he's able to pull it back just in time. That's a very, very, very important pass for Goody. Now he's got to hammer it.
Now he's got to try and put the bit between his teeth and go.
The team are going to be losing their minds when they see what's happening. He's almost looking into the eyes of his teammate. Harron covers a big line there. He knows he's getting beaten here. You can see him twitching his helmet there. Yeah, he knows he's in trouble.
It's a matter of time, unfortunately, there for Brent Harron. As much as he's going to try to go on the defensive, eventually he's going to lose out to the Yamaha. And Sella is just biding his time, waiting to pounce.
Sella, look at this. He's going to try and do it down the start-finish straight. He may be able to go for the big dive into Red Star chicane at the end there. And we've got 2 laps remaining. Goody is in a very good position. And when he watches this on replay as well, he'll know he should have made this pass 2 laps ago to try and stretch away. I don't think he was ever going to be able to catch up with his teammate, but he could have saved himself a lot of drama. As we sit here right now, Sella is still not past Harron. Down the bottom of the N4, still hasn't made the pass. He was so good on the brakes, still hasn't made the pass. And Harron will just block the whole way through the dog bone.
And you know what Harron's doing right now? Harron is not fighting for 3rd place. Harron is fighting for championship. He wants to keep... and Sella making uncustomary mistakes there.
You know, he went for a big dive there and just almost... in fact, he did just touch the back end of Harron's bike. Didn't upset Harron, but almost forced himself off. You know what? Sella is in big trouble here. Big trouble.
So, as I said, the battle is here for the championship. Never mind the 3rd place on the podium. Because remember, if Harron stays where he is, he's closed the championship down. It was a slight touch between the two of them. Can you believe that little replay there for the live streaming guys? And there it is on the little short straight, Pirelli straight, and he's through.
Yeah, you could see that Harron wasn't going to be able to block that the whole time. Not against a wily character like Sella, and not against that bike. So it looks like Harron, and he's going to have to find something. And this is what you and I have been talking about. As soon as these Yamahas find the package, you are not going to be able to fight against it. It is going to be Yamaha 1, 2, and 3 today.
Yeah, let's talk about that. I was just going to get into it. The more important factor from the MTech Nashua point of view is it's going to be MTech Nashua's possibly 1 and 2. It's 1 lap and 1 corner to go.
I think
Brandon Good is going to give it everything he can for this final lap.
You know what? We have seen Sella like this in the past. He is the most dangerous. I'm not going to say probably the most dangerous. He is the most dangerous. As a wounded animal, Sella is dangerous. He will not be able to shut down the engines. This will be like the ultimate Super Pole lap for Sella. He will go after Goody, and he will get him.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's going to try and do now as they go down the N4. You can see he runs the line on his helmet. It's like a wounded lion, as you mentioned, Matt. That thorn in the paw is all about the number 71 bike ahead of him, and they want to take that thorn out big time.
This will have to be the perfect lap from Goody to hold off this charge. And I really do mean that. Goody is going to have to not block. He has to run a Super Pole lap of his own. If he tries to cover inside lines, Sella will pounce. He will sweep inside. He will sweep out. He will do the cutback. Brandon Good has to absolutely perfectionize this lap. Yes, write that word down.
Write that word down. That's a good one, eh? I don't remember that one from my English lessons. Oh, there's a little mistake there from Good. That might be enough for Sella to pounce. A little moment there.
There it is.
Oh, and Sella's up the inside. Sella's got him.
Yeah.
Sella goes into the Discover Digital hairpin, and he's got it.
And that's where he did Harron. And that is what I'm talking about. In this scenario, in this situation, Sella good enough, better than the rest to be able to come back. And it's not going to be MTech Natural Racing 1 and 2. It's going to be a 1 and 3 with a Neolife powered by Yamaha number 1 plate right in the middle.
Okay, now I'm going to go back to that thought I had earlier on.
Go
because,
ahead.
On this next shot, you're going to see it. Have a look. How Carl Fogarty-esque does that bike look?
It does.
Hey?
You're right. Oh, the
Yes.
through the sunlight.
The
Is that what you're talking about?
When
Yes.
the sunlight's in the background and it burns out, as our our winner
The
for race 1
flag
comes
is
across.
out.
Well done, Matthew Scholtz. We have another victory. There it is. That's the shot I want to show you.
And Yamaha have arrived and finally taken back a national championship victory at round number 4 of the owed SuperGP Champions Trophy. Sella, the championship points leader, remains the championship points leader with that second place and a fight back and third, and his best national result to date on this season. Brandon Good stays out there in the mix and gets that third place, but it's Yamaha 1, 2, and 3. Harron crosses the stripe in 4th place to keep his championship hopes alive. 5th place is going to go to Kershaw. We're still waiting on the flag to come out. Johan Otto went 1 lap down as he started to fade off the pace late on in the race. Kershaw confirms his place as 5th place and the first BMW. Commiserations for Isaacs going down in lap number 6 whilst he was on the money to close down and potentially go chasing after a top 3 finish. So much drama in heat number 1 of the Super GP race, and Harron even running off wide at the end of the race there. I wonder if it could have been a problem on his brakes, but certainly that Kawasaki was not looking the same bike as it was earlier today, and certainly not the same bike that went on to take 2 victories at the 3rd round down at Cape Town. So Harron, and he'll know that he had something in the bag there. On the highlights package here, looking at Matty Scholtz. Good drop off the line for him. Isaac's also a good run, and Scholtz and Sella were able to do the business. But Harron was fired up, coming from the 2nd row and coming all the way around up into 2nd place. He went after Scholtz in the early stages. Isaacs was on the big comeback, but he was chasing down firstly on Kershaw. He got his BMW stablemate and then set about chasing up. He would bring Goody along for the ride as well, and the second of the MTech Nashua Racing Yamahas was a little bit of a late starter. He caught the wake up, made the pass on Kershaw, and went up the road with Isaacs, trying to chase down on the top 3. Meanwhile, in the Super M battle in the early stages, it was the Red Mist Racing KTM RC8 of Johan Otto staying ahead of Red Star Raceway's own Jacques van Venkart on the Red Star Raceway BMW. Those two fell off the pace for the Super GPs, but had their own in-house battle, and they were lapping just outside the 2-minute bracket on the consistent 2:01s. Jacques van Venkart, his fastest lap towards the end of that race, a 2-minute dead .281, so a little bit of change just outside. At the front, though, all about the Scholtz and Sella battle. Sella shoved it up the inside, got physical, and showed that he wanted to be the first Yamaha to take the victory here on the National Series for 2015. The top 2 were putting on a show, and by lap number 4 had stretched 8 seconds ahead of 3rd place man Brent Harron. Harron having no answer to the brute power of the Yamahas. Scholtz made some uncharacteristic mistakes, but it looked like they were putting on a show and would hold back for the last couple of laps to try and drop the hammer. Big looks over the shoulder for both of the riders as they just started to turn up the wick. With about 5 laps to go, Sella made a bit of a mistake up the short straight, allowing Scholtz to take the lead. And at this point, Scholtz didn't have to get asked twice. He started to really wind it up. In the background there, at around about lap 6, so it was about the halfway marker actually, Lance Isaacs going down whilst chasing and pushing on for a 4th place finish. That meant Goody was coming up, and he had a front row seat for the top BMW rider at the time on the Black Swan Racing BMW, Isaacs, to go down. And Isaacs was down and out, eventually finding out that he was uninjured, but his championship hopes going down in the winter dust here at Delmas. At the end then, it was all about the Yamahas. Clinton Sella having a mistake late on in the race, and that allowed Matty Scholtz to go on and walk away with the first victory on the season for Yamaha. But the massive story was Scholtz, first Yamaha winner of the season, but Yamahas 1, 2, and 3 for the first time in 2015.
Yeah, incredible stuff down here, Matt. Lots of Jubilations and celebrations happening down here at the podium. It's good to see the Yamaha brand back up at the top end of South African Superbike racing. And what a way to do a comeback with a 1, 2, 3 here. Incredible stuff. Let's get them up onto the podium, though. Brandon Good looked like he could make it a 1-2 for his team. He tried very hard to do that, and I'm sure that he's going to come and try something a little bit more in race number 2 by the smile on his face. Get on up there to 3rd place for the MTech Nashua Yamaha racing team. Let's hear it for Brandon Good, ladies and gentlemen. Second place for the Neo Life powered by Yamaha racing team, Evil Knievel himself, Clint Seller. And making it the 4th victor of the season on top of the podium today for MTech Nashua Yamaha racing team, the Umhlanga Rocket, Matthew Scholz. Third place going to be handed out by Mrs. Lee Watson from Gas Sports. She's going to hand that to Brandon Good. Guguzulu is going to be handing out 2nd place to Clint Seller, Evil Knievel on the 2nd spot on the podium. And once again, Mark from Pirelli will be handing out to the top spot there. And Matthew Scholz, the Umhlanga Rocket. Ladies and gents, let's make some noise there for your first SuperGP Champions Trophy podium. And that is absolutely awesome stuff. Let's get some reactions from the riders as they come on down. We're going to start with Brandon. Brand, some great racing out there. It wasn't such a good start from your side of things. Looked like things went a little bit haywire in the qualifying Super Pole, not going great, but what a way to come back in the race.
Yeah, we spent the whole of yesterday trying to figure out a problem with the bike. I mean, it's still a brand new bike, so we haven't really had much time to learn what it doesn't do. I finally got it right tonight, earlier yesterday evening, and then came back this morning feeling good. The bike was feeling good. Got it on the front row, which is always lacquer, and then as I said, the new bike, I still need to learn launch control and everything, so I completely messed up my launch control, so I had to really fight back hard past Lance and Kershaw. I mean, it wasn't easy getting past those guys, and then slowly making way up to Brent, but I see he had a problem with his bike sputtering around. It's a pity Lance crashed, and well done to Clinton for falling and then picking it up and finishing 2nd. You know it very well.
Teammates, of course, doing a good job here for the brand and for the team. So I think that always bodes well. And if it all goes well, could possibly be 1-2 in the next one.
Yeah, definitely going to work on my start for the next race. The team worked so hard on my bike, getting it right. I really do have the best team, I think. And I'd like to thank all my sponsors. I'd like to thank CJ Auto, my parents, my friends, everyone for all the support. We're going to try to do it again in the 2nd race.
Awesome job, Brand. Well done. Let's get 2nd place man here. He's sitting waiting. Exactly, having a chat with Ricky Moraes from MTech Racing, maybe getting a few little tips there. I think they're sharing the knowledge of what these bikes can do. So incredible stuff. And I can tell you, Clint Seller, wow, dude. The last time you came here, a similar thing happened. And, of course, it was the time that Brent went and took his first win. Now we've got Matthew taking the first win. I know it's not what you wanted. Consolidation is all part of the game right now. So important to get onto the podium. And, man, did you work hard for it.
Yeah, that was crazy. I mean, myself and Maddie, we were sort of, I think our pace was quite a lot higher than the other guys could manage. So we had a pretty big gap. And, I fell off. I mean, I pitched into out of bottom out the front end and I fell. And I kind of thought that was it, you know what I mean? I picked up the bike as quickly as possible. Saw Brenton, Brandon, and I was thinking, man, championship, you know, your mind starts to play all those games. But, how awesome to pick it up and then still push to 2nd. I know during the race as well, I did a 51.8, which was awesome as well. So, actually, you know what, 2nd place, I'm really stoked. Maddie was awesomely fast. Looking forward to the next one because I think we can have lots of fun together. But, stoked to finish 2nd after a tough middle of the race.
Good job. We'll catch you up to the 2nd one. Matthew Scholz, come on in here. Got to do one more. Just give me a sec to do the winner, and then we'll get on to the Super M guys as we get into Matthew Scholz. Matt, just an incredible ride from you and Clint. It was mano for most of the race. A little mistake from Clint, but that helped you to get ahead. But I'm just impressed with him, the way that you got to grips with this bike.
Yeah, you know, we were actually riding the old R1 for the first 2 or 3 races, and then we got these brand new bikes before the Cape Town race, and obviously we didn't have much time to actually test. So, you know, from the Cape Town race to now, luckily Ricky has been doing 1 or 2 things, set up the bike better, and yeah, we actually came here and we went a whole lot faster than what we thought we would, and yeah, both me and Stella ran out front, and unfortunately he crashed, but yeah, I'm looking forward to race 2.
Impressive stuff for the brand as well. 1, 2, and 3 for Yamaha. That's just showing that coming back with these kind of motorcycles is definitely worthwhile.
Yeah, you know, all of us qualified first, second, third, and now we're finishing first, second, third. So yeah, it's going really, really well for us, and hopefully we can carry on moving forward and keep on going faster.
Awesome job. We'll catch you at the next one. Let's get on to Super M now. There's only 2 riders, so getting up onto the second. Whose trophy is this one I got left behind? If they don't want it, I'll take it home. It's all good. Oh, it's Brad's. Of course he's going to take that one. Thanks, Brad. Okay, so in terms of Super M, it is all about 2 riders. One, of course, is Mr. Red Star Raceway himself, Mr. Jacques van Weengaard. Come on up here, sir. The big boss man's in the house. Do you need somebody on third? I'll come on to third if you need me to. All right, and joining you up there from the Red Mist Racing team, and it's Johan Otto. What a return for Johan Otto, ladies and gents. Let's make some noise for our Super M guys. Second place, Johan Otto, is going to be handed up by Mr. Tim Cook from Gas Sports. And first place to Jacques van Weengaard from Red Star Raceway Racing. And Stephen Watson's going to join as the third rider there. There you go. Now we got a full podium. Make some noise for the Super M riders, guys. Great job. Come on down, guys. Let's get a quick couple of quick views out there. Johan, the last time you came and played with us at SuperGP level, it ended up in tears and a couple of broken bones and some few medical bills, but seems like it all went well today.
Yeah, it was a bit hard. Unfit, didn't expect to be racing this weekend, and yeah, well, we made it. What can I say?
It was great to have you back, buddy, and I'm sure that you're looking forward to more of the same there with Jacques and hopefully a couple more riders later on.
For sure. We're bringing a lot of guys with us, so next race, watch out for us.
Awesome job. Awesome job. Thanks, Johan. Boss man, come and join us here as the tin run comes and is part of this too. From your point of view, you were out here to have some fun and games, there's no doubt about it. You love riding your own track, but what an awesome opportunity to be involved with some of the top riders in the country as well as in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think everybody realizes what an honor it is to ride with these gentlemen and to ride with the youngsters and to actually see how fast they really are. It's scary out there. It's nice. I enjoyed them. I want to congratulate each and every one of them and say, well done, but the old man's coming.
We knew the bike was coming. We're very thankful to Yamaha that they've given us something very competitive. And then to the Nashua MTEC Yamaha Racing team with Ricky Morais, and also to Brad and Assis from Neo Life Racing powered by Yamaha. They've put the bike where it does. It's easy to give someone a bike. You've then got to make it competitive. We battled a bit in Cape Town. They got onto the pace. And yes, we're very, very chuffed. We think it's more than likely 2002, 2003, since the last time we locked out a podium. So yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. And of course, I'm sure there's a possibility of a double here today.
Well, we hope. We hope. That would make it a really special day. Monday will be a long day tomorrow then.
So this is going to be all about the repeat. We've seen the incredible, but can we have the incredible double now? Because Yamaha have been untouchable today in the Premier category, and now we're going to see if they can do it all over again.
There they are, the Wolverine, the Hulk, and Captain America.
Karen, please put your hands back there.
Karen, yes. Karen, that just went out worldwide, buddy. The lunchbox shot from Mr. Karen de Lange.
All right, so watch out for a nice recovery. I'm expecting to see Kershaw turn this one around as well. A very good gate, and the 55 Tsunami Beach Bar rider should be coming on strong. Thankfully, we've got Lancelot back. He was icing his ankle. He's not going to be in great form. Certainly going to be riding in some degree of pain, but it looks like the bike is okay. I saw him doing some lastminute.com suspension adjustments on the 38 special, so let's see if he's got everything it takes. He's going to have to take something away from this. He has to score some points to stay anywhere near this championship.
Another important factor that has to be brought in terms of scoring points is that number 7 bike, the Metal Center and Odin Racing Kawasaki of Brent Herron. He's got to go out there and do it. Otherwise,
thankfully, our roving reporter out there on the track, Goody, telling you that the bike was coughing, spluttering while he was out on the track. So we'll take nothing away from Brent Herron. He had a problem in the machine and he rode through it to still get 4th place. Very important.
Yeah, get those points in the bag. That's what you need to be doing at this point in the season, and walk away with as many as you can get. Now, it's not exactly what you would have liked, because I know that Brent Herron came into this round particularly wanting to take the fight that he had down in Cape Town and continue it here.
Yeah, he didn't need that knock. He really didn't. But if he can take any positive away from it, is that he rode around a misfiring bike and still got 4th place. That really helps him out. He was helped out by the demise of Lance Isaacs, and that's maybe going to be something that he's going to be happy about. You know, he's happy that Lance is okay. You know, these guys are all buddies off track. They do hang and party together. But it's going to help him out in his championship fight for sure. Still, the championship, I feel, coming down to the end of the season, is going to be between Seller, Scholz, and Herron.
Yeah. And if Brandon Good can continue the form, it might be 4-way too. We'll have to keep an eye, because
I think
he's a bit far back right now.
I think he's left it a bit too late. You know, we are.
But he had to wait for the bike and get it back into the trim that can race.
We are at round number 4, and on the old machinery, Scholz was able to ride around a lot more of the problems than Goody was. That said, coming off the Pakisa round, I actually spoke to Goody and said, "Are you doing okay here, bud?" He says, "I've just done my best lap at Pakisa ever. Would you believe?" On the old Yamaha. So there's definitely a good future for Goody, and he's going to be figuring things out, if not at this round, then certainly as we plow on towards the end of the season.
PE is next. That's heading into the end of July. We come back to Red Star Raceway for another round on the opposite way around this track, so we head for a clockwise round as opposed to the anti-clockwise we're seeing now. Lekker, yes, indeed. Back down to the Mother City, and finally to Desi, for a brand new circuit that
very
no
excited
one ever
about
has
that.
been to.
Very excited about that.
A race program.
That's going to be a big turnaround. We're going to be making a lot of noise, so watch out for the press and, of course, social media. And we'll try and get down there and do a little bit of sneaky practice and see what we can find out. Right now, we are lining up for our final race of the day. Heat number 2 of the Super GPs and round number 4 of the Super GP Champions Trophy here at Dalmas Red Star Raceway in Mpumalanga. And we are fired up and ready to go. We've got our full grid. We've got a green flag at the back, and we are fired up and ready. Watch out for the whole shot from the middle. It should be Scholzy, but it looked like Kershaw got a belter. Is it Goody? Looks like Goody may be controlling this one.
Superhero to the rescue.
Oh, I tell you what, the crowds in the comic stores are going to go crazy for that one, because Brandon Good, and the hero that he is, just hit the whole shot button.
Yeah, there's a new hero in town, and it's not the Hulk, it's not Captain America, it's not the Wolverine, it's Brandon Good.
Well, he said he couldn't figure out the launch control. He just did. He's got that one dialed now. And it is M-Tech Racing 1 and 2, Greg. Get the cameras out.
Yeah, somebody get the cameras out, because behind them it's the Neolife Racing Yamaha of Clint Seller, and behind that bike it's the first Kawasaki, the only Kawasaki in fact in this field, as he comes flying up onto the back end of his ex-teammate, good friend, but arch rival right now in this championship.
Yeah, then it is Isaacs, then it is Kershaw, so we are all in for this one, but it's not going to take long for the Yamahas to start stretching it away. You just got to hope and pray that Herron has found some kind of setup in his bike. 4th place will not be enough for him to stay in this championship hunt. Not in the form that these Yamahas are running, and not as we are only at the halfway marker of the season. 4th place will not help him.
So chopping and changing, and there's the shot you need. Side by side, teammates, and equal at the front end of the second heat.
Well, that was as nice as Scholzy could be to his teammates, and fair play to him, but he had to get around him because he is able to run a much hotter early race pace than Goody, and Seller comes through as well.
He just answers the call there, I think. The call was the fact that the number 20 motorcycle was getting away, and he can't afford to let that bike go. You heard in his interview just how hard he had to work to stay with Scholz. The two of them were kind of having some fun and games of their own, because they had the pace that was required to get away from the rest of the field. And it looks like it's a very similar thing here in race number 2. Heading down and across the line and completing lap number 1 now. It's Yamaha 1, 2, and 3 with Brent Herron on the Kawasaki sitting in 4th place.
Herron's doing a good enough job for now, but remember, it was after lap number 2 that the problem started to occur on the one and only Kawasaki out there. So we'll have to see if he can actually hang tough. And you can see on the top end, the Yamahas are just untouchable. You know, Herron came across the stripe, what was he running? 1.3 back by the end of this lap. I think what he's doing is almost overriding his bike to try and get as much out of it as he can. And when you're just when you're valve bouncing and just over-revving these things, they just don't like it. They just don't like it, man. And I think on a track like this, if you're trying to rail around the dog bone section in second on the high revs, third is much better, if you can.
That's what we need to be doing here. And certainly what Matthew Scholz and Kinsella are, to open up a little bit of a margin over Brandon Good. Brandon Good would like to just stay in third and try and keep the Yamaha factory very happy with the performance of their bikes and the fact that they've come back here fighting in a big way now that they've got machinery to go to the fight.
I think this lap, or the end of this lap when the clock ticks, is going to show us the kind of numbers that we are capable of achieving in this race. Harron, you can see already the gap is there, but it's whether the lap time of Good and Harron is similar or close enough for Harron to even have a chance of going off that final podium position.
You want to talk about similar or close enough? Have a look at the lap times from a standing start compared to the 600s. Identical.
Yeah.
2 minute flat, 2
Amazing.
minute 9s, 2 minute 1s, 2:01s in fact. So slightly slower than a 600 from a standing start.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. We've said it. And bring back the days of Dash for Cash, Greg.
Oh,
you know,
these, can we have another?
For you guys out there, a short description of Dash for Cash was at the end of national tours in the past. What we used to do was group up the top 10 fastest 600s, the top 10 fastest 1000s, put them on the grid together, dash for cash, and at the end of each lap we would lose a rider. And more often than not, there was a 600 in the mix in those last couple of laps, and more often than not, it was Kershaw back in the day when he was running 600s.
Kershaw was incredible.
He was one of those 600 racers who was better at racing against 1000 cc's than he was against racing 600s.
Yeah, in the old South African Motorcycle Championship that ran just before SuperGP took its place, it was known as Mr. Motorcycle, and in fact, that man there owns 2 white dollar blazers for Mr. Motorcycle. Kinsella winning both of those events and taking the, I think it was 10,000 Rand prize money.
10,000 gorillas. I'm sure we can speak to the powers that be and get that thing hustling again. We've always got a little bit of extra time at the end of the day.
Especially at the lot. Can you imagine doing it at Desi? Oh man, it'll be fun. Let's have a look and see if we can maybe talk them into that one. Incredible stuff up the main straight now, and this of course is the Pirelli straight into Portable Shade. And the 2 Yamahas just comfortable in their own right.
Oh,
Harron also looking comfortable, but you know what? He's just hanging tough.
I'm going to keep an eye on Harron for now, and I'll look at the numbers. He's running in the high 153s, which isn't bad. It's not bad. He is around about 2 thousandths of a second slower than Goody, so he's possibly overriding the Kawasaki, and there's a problem.
The day continues. A day of hell for Lance Isaacs.
That's an outbreaking situation there for Isaacs. So yeah, it's going to be a rough trip back to Cape Town and a hard swallow for the champion and the man who is desperately looking to nail down a championship.
So we've just seen Lance Isaacs having to get his bike back onto the black stuff, and in fact Jacques van Wijngaard just sneaking by on him as he heads through.
Oh, look how Harron's having to ride. You can see he's running wild out there. Look at his lap times again. He throws a 153, actually drops into the 154s.
But so does Brandon Good.
So does Brandon Good, yeah. And I think the lap times that are happening, I'm not going to count these 2 because they're just class of their own. The guys that are running out front.
Look at the lap time out of Matthew Scott, 52.034.
But I think the guys outside of the top 2 are battling to find any kind of temperature on the track. And you and I can see the conditions are very, very different out there, especially down the bottom of the N4 highway. What we don't, maybe the guys here don't realize, and the guys out on the digital format that are watching this out there in the world don't realize, there is a massive elevation change from turn 1 down to the bottom of the highway. And because of the flay at the bottom there, that's where the cold air drops straight away, and there's no grip at the bottom. I've seen so many people tuck the front end on the brakes down the bottom, exactly where Harron is now.
Yeah, you got to be very careful because
this is actually an uphill straight. That's what no one actually realizes.
It's a downhill straight on the N4 if you're going this way. It's an uphill straight on the Pirelli side of things, and then if we come back in a few months' time, the other option applies. It becomes a downhill straight on Pirelli and then uphill on the N4.
Tends to run a little bit better that way, and you really have to stand the bike on its nose at the top of that. You're coming out of 6th gear, everything she's got, and you've got to get it down into a 90-degree second-hand chicane. It's one of the most testing corners on the circuit, I feel. It's even more scary than some of the dog bones because you're just coming from everything she's got to nothing.
I can tell you, running this way in the 4 hour on my Triumph, unfortunately I didn't check the tire pressures correctly, and at this point in the race, which was about this time actually on track, the back end just stepped out because of the lack of temperature that's there. Okay, there was also me to blame for not checking the tire pressures, but needless to say, a similar thing to what you're seeing happening with Lance Isaacs. He's just getting under braking, the back end stepping out because of the lack of temperature out there.
Well, funny enough, I don't know if it's a Lanceism or what it is, but this season, his second races have been terrible. Absolutely terrible. You know, coming out of Cape Town, that was a beautiful shot, by the way. Coming out of Cape Town, he said he changed nothing on the bike. Nothing. And it just didn't work in Heat 2. So really battled to find any kind of setup there.
That is the Super M leader at this stage, Mr. Jacques van Wijngaard, Mr. Red Star as well. He's the owner of the circuit and has, as you heard in the interview in race number 1, loves the fact that he has the honor of riding with SA's top riders. So
very humble man and
fantastic.
Good to have him out there on the circuit. He really is just enjoying being part of the big show. Does so much for racing and motorsport in this country, and yeah, my favorite track, odds on.
Heads up Pirelli now, and the lap times out of Brent Herron did get slightly better with a 54.0, but the return of the favour came with a 54.5 out of Brandon Good, but Brandon Good has returned the favour and got back into third.
Yeah, I think
across the line, Herron was actually leading, but now they've changed up again.
Yeah, I think Herron is finding some sections on the track where he's finding it. Also, you know, we're only on lap 4, so I think Herron is, I don't know what that was.
Showboating.
That wasn't even,
maybe some cramp.
That wasn't even close enough to figure out a move, so I'm not quite sure what he was doing there at all. So this may be the round where Brent Herron starts to fall apart. It's not looking good.
He's got to get it all back together again. He has the ability, he knows that. He's got the bike underneath him that can take a race victory. He's done it 3 times, so come on. Let's try and get that confidence back in him, and I'm sure the team will be doing that.
I think he knows he can't run out front, so let me change my thought pattern completely here as we see Kershaw come across in a lonely 5th place. I think what we're seeing from Brent Herron is he's good enough to stay with Goody. We're only 5 laps in of a 14-lap race. He'll let him lead.
And he'll probably think to himself, well, if it was so close between the Yamahas at the front end, you know, there's a good possibility that they could touch and have an incident. Don't want to say anything about it because it has happened in the past.
It has.
And it's at that point of the race that we are now, where we were earlier on in the 600s, where everything just calms down for a few laps.
Yeah. Wake me up when it's 10 laps to go.
Yeah, I'll bring the touch paper again.
I think we overdid that one, I must say.
It was like a nerf.
Yeah, but the situation here with Herron, you can see he's just matching Goody. In fact, if anything, he's probably a little bit better than Goody here. And the Yamaha is certainly starting to spin the tires. Certainly on the Goody bike, you can see it's hopping around. I would think that the development isn't quite there with Goody's bike as yet. You can see he bounces a little bit coming out of the turns. So I don't think it's exactly where he wants it to be. Herron's bike, the handling looks like it's right there. Maybe the engine package could be better though. But commiserations, and what a weird situation where this is the only Kawasaki on the grid right now. 2 years ago, you couldn't move for Kawasaki's.
Yeah, it was almost a ZX10 Cup. ZX10 Cup took place yesterday, of course, down in Port Elizabeth as part of the Extreme Festival. There was some great racing there. Graham Van Breda winning things out on that effort. And Peter de Vos winning the Class Bs down there.
Did he?
Great effort
nice
from him. And then, of course, it was all about Stuart Dale Russell winning the Grandmasters down there too. So great riding. Big Sid Farina getting the rider of the day too. So just in terms of Kawasaki, that's what happened down there. But right now, Kawasaki is not able to run with these two. These two Yamahas really going well, evenly matched. And here we go, Ferrari time.
Funny enough, actually, at the end of last season.
After you, sir.
Yeah.
I was plain as daylight.
Carry on. Yeah. All right, your turn to lead. I'm taking a little bit of a break. I'm going to have a cup of tea.
It's kind of like I want to say, who was the rider with Lance Armstrong? The big guy. I can't remember his name. Hincapie. George Hincapie saying, okay, I've done my work, off you go.
you make me pull names out sometimes.
Sorry, I had to try and find it there. It was there.
You couldn't have gone for the, what's his name, Cavendish and what's his face? Renshaw
taking out Cavendish.
The lead out man.
The lead out man, exactly. Or the climb guy.
Sorry, we've lost the plot here. We're talking Tour de France. It is almost Tour de France time.
It is time though, yeah. They're only a couple of weeks away. The Dauphine ends today.
I'm laughing.
So does Lamar.
I'm laughing at Sella looking over his left shoulder when he was right at the curb. I'm like, who's going to come past you? Brian Kappa.
It could be, eh? Kappa's out there. He's had a couple of seasons on a Yamaha now. I want to get him to come and play at SuperGP. He's not too bad on a road bike.
All right, so the top two. Let's talk some numbers here. 9 seconds ahead of the third place battle. And there is definitely a chance of Goody getting one put over on him. I think it's going to be a huge turnaround if Harron can just stand on that box and look into the eyes of Scholz and Sella, because that is the podium that we're going to be looking at come the end of the season. And I think that's what I want you to speak to them about, Greg. Because the three lads, if Harron can get onto the box, those are the three boys going at it this year.
Yeah, that'll be the championship fight, that's for sure.
Goody isn't quite there. I'm not writing him off, but he just isn't quite there. But if he can get a couple of wins, and that's what it's going to take, to be honest, to join the championship hunt. Unfortunately, Goody just starting his season off a little bit too slow in the old equipment. And look what he can do on the new stuff. He's probably the rider that's benefited the most from the new Yamaha R1.
Also, look what he did last year on that Kawasaki he was on. Remember, he was on the CJ Auto machine.
Yeah, but he came straight in and was just perfect.
And he was, exactly.
Perfect.
And he was probably one of the most consistent riders we had in the championship last year. Which is why he finished up in the top 5.
Yeah, he arrived. He was definitely an arrival from last season. You know, we've known Goody for a couple of seasons now, coming through the regional ranks. But last year he was like, all right, I don't want to ride a 600. We've always kind of looked at him as a 600 rider, and he stepped onto the 1,000. You and I questioned it might have been a little bit too soon, but I took that back after 2 races. He was there.
Made it his own. Made it his own for sure. Out of Discover Digital onto the Pirelli Straight. Looks like one bike there, but just in the slipstream there was Sella.
Please note, most of the riders running quite a dark tint now as they turn facing towards Johannesburg. They are getting an eye full of big red balls.
And they're finding out why this place is called Red Star.
Yeah.
Because if you arrive here at about 6 o'clock in the morning and you're driving to the circuit,
you're blind.
It's in your face. And if you're going home at about this time, it's in your face.
Yeah.
The big Red Star.
Normally enough to blind you from the speed cops on the way home.
You don't see them. That's for sure. Hopefully they're not there today.
NGL Logistics heading down to the bottom end of the circuit, winding themselves up. I love this shot. Look how the light is reflecting there. Isn't that like Laguna Seca back in the day?
Phenomenal stuff.
Beautiful stuff.
As I said, that's the shot I was trying to get to when all the action went down, to go with my Carl Foggy-esque look, because it's very similar to what Foggy ran when he was on the 996 and won his World Championship.
And the new front end shape of that Yamaha, it's not a Yamaha front end per se. It's similar to the GP bike, I would say, more than anything else. But we've been so used to the very kind of pointy nose of the Yamahas the last couple of seasons. It's a big step away. In fact, if you put a Ducati Panigale next to it, it looks more like that than anything else now. Brandon Good then in third place, and Harron's body language tells me he's just following for now.
He's just got his personal best.
Following.
Just as a heads up there, so sorry to jump in and
Yeah.
change your thoughts. Personal best on that lap from Harron to a 53.6.
No, all he's doing is
53.5 out of Goody keeps him ahead.
All he's doing is winding himself up, building himself up, getting him into that headspace when he knows in around about 2 laps time he's gonna have to start doing something. But he doesn't want to do a move too early, because he doesn't have the power or the speed to break away. It's got to be a pass in the second half of the lap. Or now.
Now's a good idea. How about now?
Thanks.
No, how about now?
Thanks, Brent.
Thank you very much, Brent Harron, for a little commentator's curse there. Oh, he's going to have to work hard for it, though.
Yeah, well, he doesn't have the grunt, but he was able to move over and cover the line. So, Brent, thanks. He's obviously got us on digital download and listening to us loud in his ears. And he's finally got himself through into third place, but it's not over. And unfortunately, I think it may be a little bit too soon. Unless he's really been following Goody and seen that he's got massive problems on his tyres, which he probably does by this stage. And, 5 laps to live out there is quite a long time.
I would have put a new rear on there, so it wouldn't be the rear that's too much of an issue. It's just the front that I might be concerned about.
The rear might
be worried too much.
It's not necessarily whether the tyre is new or old. It's the fact that we're losing temperature and whether you can actually manage the temperature loss and manage the tyre.
So they're handling it right now pretty decently. Yeah, there's 5 laps to go, 100% on
nice
the
shot,
board.
that. I like it. Looking down at the pit boards from the bridge and seeing the riders disappear off into the Red Star chicane. Next cameraman picks it up, so sends us down the highway. And this is actually the point where the riders are blind.
way down the highway, looking for the braking marker. There's a 250, there's a 150, and a 50-meter board, and that's normally where you climb on the anchors. Down to 4th, usually, on 1,000 through there. Just hold 4th, and then just keep it all the way through, and then we'll be banging up either probably into, depending on how the gearing they're running,
these
probably
guys,
the second.
These guys run quite long gears at this track, Greg, so I'm going to correct you if you don't mind. They'll bang down to 3rd there,
Okay.
and then through the dog bone, they'll probably stay in 3rd.
All the way through, yeah.
The reason they run longer gears is so that they don't have to bang down into 2nd where the bike over revs. And you'll sometimes hear the over revs through the dog bones. Why you won't hear the over revs is because they gear up and they're actually running a short 3rd gear rather than a long 2nd.
Probably will go to 2nd here.
There are a couple of seconds on the track, there definitely are, because there are some extremely slow corners on the circuit.
And 6 all the way to the top here. Brilliant stuff.
Through here, you'll run a 2nd. And then start building it up. Because you're on the edge of the tyre so long, a lot of the riders couldn't, when Jacques first designed this track and laid it out, so many riders couldn't figure it out. I mean, myself, it was very tricky. And then I just got taught some very valuable lessons. Stop trying to hug the curb. Go in later. And when you go in later and use the late apexes, where we refer to not touching the apex until you're on the way out of the turn, then you're carrying so much more mid-corner. And what you tend to find with that riding style is you do run 1 gear up naturally. Here endeth the lesson.
Thank you kindly. Write that down, everybody. Hope you all PVR'd that.
I promise.
Taped it because it's good information coming from there.
I promise I don't know it all, but it's just.
You've got it pretty dull. I'll go with
as a rookie rider, I was able to learn at that rookie level, and it sinks in quick then.
One thing I can tell you is when it comes to the format of two-wheeled racing, the man next to me probably has a slight advantage on my ability on the motorcycle, but I go out there and have as much fun as probably what these guys are having, even at this level.
You're built for endurance. I'm built for speed.
That's it. So a big left-hander they come out again. That is at the bottom of the straights, and of course now heading into the DO'd dog bones.
You see what I mean about may have pulled this move a little bit too soon, because he's allowing Brendan Good that chance to kind of even take a couple of laps and just take a breath and then go for the big fight back. So I don't think this 3rd place battle is over. In fact, I think it's just begun.
It's 10-14. We're going to start 11, so it's touch paper time, baby.
I'm never going to live this down.
No, you brought it up.
Outside of the top 4 that we've been concentrating on, Kershaw is running in the 1. He has done a good lap. I think that was on lap 2 or 3. He did a 155.4. He's now faded off to the 157. So I definitely think it's a tyre situation, and we are rapidly losing temperature out there.
From Kershaw's point of view, I don't think so. I think what we're doing there is what we said to him at the beginning of the day when we spoke to him. The idea is that he is there to consolidate, get as much as he can, considering the injury that's still available, and he's under a bit of pain.
And, you know, I don't want to take anything away from Lance and or take anything away from Kershaw for that matter as well, but to be the leading BMW this season has been a bit of a kind of in-fight and internal war and a secondary story out of the championship.
Certainly is. Look at that sunset coming down.
Beautiful.
And, end of the race coming to very, very near future for us here on Digital Entertainment On Demand SuperGP Championship Trophy. And the entertainment has been pretty good here today. Even with the depleted fields, we've had some great racing. We've still got a good race on here between these two. We've still got a good race on at the front end between Scholz and Seller, and that one is about to start heating up. In fact, as I said, that
big mistake from Goody there. Big wag of the tail. Sorry to jump in there. You can see the back end of Goody's bike has gone. So Harron may have done enough to just save his tyres to be able to break away. But look at the top end of the Yamaha. By the bottom end of the straight there, that's the top end of 5th gear. The Yamaha straight back. And he lost like half a second on drive coming out of the top end of the Red Star Raceway S's. So, you know, that Yamaha, it's a weapon, man. It really is a weapon.
Left-handers out of the dog run.
Hey, see what I mean?
There you go.
He's just, you know, those tyres are done.
That's enough.
Those tyres are done, and Harron, as long as he doesn't make any mistakes, and that was Goody trying to make up for a mistake by making another mistake.
Yeah, I can tell you what Brandon Good will be right now is he'll go, okay, let's just take it home.
Calm down.
Let's just take it home. Let's see if Brent makes a mistake, I'll have another go. Oh, there it is again, just the replay of that little sit-up moment coming out of the second part of the dog bone. And Brandon Good now, well, he hasn't given up yet.
All right, well, I'm hoping the director is going to send us across to the lead now, because we've been focusing on the 3rd place battle. That looks to have calmed down. We need to make a little note that Matthew Scholz and Seller are still out there. as we just watched Goody finish off this section. And it looks like it's not quite wrapped up, but we need to have a look at the leaders as we head with 3 laps remaining in this race.
Check at the gap.
Oh man, that's huge.
It was 5.5 seconds on the last pass. I think it's gone probably up to about 7 seconds or so.
So it's not just going to be
6.8, not too shabby.
It's not just going to be a race win. It's going to be an overall round win for Scholz, and that's going to be massive
for him as well. And in fact, the way he's going, he started to catch the back end of Super M, which we didn't see in the first race.
We saw them come through on Otto, so they've already come through on Otto, and I would say that Van Venkart is running up the road from Otto. He is. I'm just checking it out there, and he's running on the 202s now. So even Van Venkart, the leader in the Super M's, has started to fall off the pace because of the lack of heat out there. Not the lack of tires, essentially, but the lack of heat in the tarmac. We are losing it quickly.
That big red ball and the red star in the sky is dropping rapidly.
We're not far away from solstice, are we? It's almost the shortest day, and it's getting chilly out there. It's getting chilly in our little commentary booth here. My feet are freezing.
Yeah, your feet haven't stopped moving the whole way through this commentary. All right, so Jacques Van Venkart about to be shown the way around his own circuit by a very talented young man, Matthew Scholz, who's looking for a double on the day here for the Nashua MTech Yamaha racing team.
Like Jacques said, nothing but respect. He says when these guys come past you, you genuinely cannot believe the speed and the pace and how smooth they are on the machines. Sometimes you'll try and stay with a tasty lad when he comes through for at least one turn. No chance. No chance.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's exactly what happens.
So Scholz is on for the double, and Sella is on for a double second place. For the third on the day, it's going to come down to the time gap between Goody and Harron. You're better with numbers than I am, Greg.
Yeah, just in terms of
how close is it going to have to be?
And the overalls don't really count for much. It's just literally to tell the people who had the overall and who got it. But I think it's probably going to be in the hands of Brandon Good, because in the first race, the time differential was about 5.
Yeah, Harron was too far off when he had.
Right now, Good is right on it.
Yeah, he's staying within 2 seconds of him, so he's going to keep him honest, and Goody will still go on in old money to take third overall.
Correct. Yamaha looks like they're going to be taking the manufacturer's point of view, because they've just been absolutely dominant here today, so no worries there. If we do look down and we've got to try and find the rookie of the day, that is, in my opinion, he's not a rookie, but he is a rookie in this class, and in the combined class, it would have to go to Jacques Van Venkart.
Yeah, we'll try and give it to Jacques. He may refuse it. He's a very humble man, but try and force it on him. He's he really needs a high five and a thank you, and to be honest, a thank you in more ways than one as well, because this track is just phenomenal. Really is.
And the effort that his entire team put in too. Not only from the Gas Sports point of view, but the whole Red Star team are here in full effect to ensure that we have a great day's racing at the circuit. Not only at SuperGP level, but at any level that comes in races.
Harron's done a good reaction. We are on the last lap as well, so Harron looks like he is doing just enough to get this third place. It will help him out on championship points. On a bad day, a third and a fourth. If that's the worst he has to do, that will be okay. But the problem is he is going up against Sella, who very, very rarely makes mistakes. But look at this. This is the turning point of the season. And look at the dominance of Scholz.
Matt, we kind of said it at the start. We said if Matthew Scholz gets a bike that is equal to the task that Clint Sella's got, it's going to be a very, very difficult battle for Sella to maintain that number 1 plate. Scholz has got the bike, he's got the ability, and he's just shown with a double victory here today at round 4 of the Digital Entertainment On Demand SuperGP Champions Trophy. SuperGP title has just opened up for business.
And what Peter Wilkins said, and he must have swallowed hard as he said it as well. Well done to MTech Racing for hanging tough these last 3 years.
100%. Great job from Ricky Rice and the whole team. Sella is going to take second. Harron is going to get a podium. That's what he wanted.
He's happy with that. He's done what he had to do. A survival day. A fourth and a third, good enough. Not good enough if you want the championship, but good enough to stay in the hunt. It's just going to take one mistake. Let's do the wrap. All right, so Kershaw heading out to finish off, and a real rough day at the office for Lance Isaacs. We'll have to we'll no doubt pick up some online reactions from Lance after the event as we head through to the build-up for round number 5. But right now, it is the last race of the day, and Greg Maloney will be heading down to get the last few bits of reactions from the riders as Yamaha will be partying probably all the way through tonight, Monday, and the public holiday on Tuesday, and go to work very blurry-eyed on Wednesday. But as Peter Wilkins said, Yamaha will be blowing up the internet tomorrow, and social media are going to go nuts. And around the world, the Yamaha R1 has really started to arrive. Yet to take a World Superbike Super Stock victory, but that seems to be on the cards as well if they can fight against the Aprilia and Ducati Panigales that are ruling that championship for now. But at national championship level, Yamaha have just done the double. Beautiful shots coming in from our cameras out there on the circuit as the dying light comes in at the very end of our race day here at round number 4 of the Diode SuperGP Champions Trophy Digital On Demand, round number 4 at Red Star. We've got some race highlights coming up before we go down to the podium. So off the start, once again, a absolute cracker. This time around, it was the 71, Brandon Good. He said he couldn't figure out the launch control at race 1. Race number 2, he finally sees clear air, probably couldn't believe his luck, and tried best as he could to try and maintain. His teammate was on his back wheel, and it was up to Scolty to try and open up the door. He did as clean and as polite a pass as he possibly could put in on his teammate to try and run out front. Sella did the same thing, and by the end of lap number 1, it was those two running away. Isaacs had some problems on braking on his machine in the early laps, and there was possibly problems that were still in place from his crash at the halfway marker of race number 1. He rejoined, but would still climb no higher than 6 come the end. Jacques van Vanckart was the best in the Super M's and was able to stretch out a lead over his competitor in that category, Johan Otto. Out front by the halfway marker, all about Sella and Scolty as they just went back and forth, and it didn't take long for Scholz this time to drop the hammer. About the halfway marker, he actually stretched things out and got away and pulled the gap on Sella. In the background, though, it was all about the third place battle. Harron had been very quiet in the early laps in a low 4th place, made the pass on Goody. Goody made not 1 but 2 mistakes, and that was all she cried. In the last laps, Scholz made the pass on the lappers, Johan Otto in the Super M's and Jacques van Vanckart, and just looked for the last corner. The sun was dropping, the light was gone, and there was no heat in the tarmac or the rubber. But Scholz had done the unthinkable and taken Yamaha to a double victory at the second time of asking since the launch of the new Yamaha R1. Round number 4 was all about Scholz and the arrival of Yamaha. Looks like Greg and the boys are ready down at the final podium of the day, so I'll hand across to Greg Maloney to catch up with our lads.
Thanks, Matt Hollywood-Smith up on top, and great commentary there, buddy. Thanks so much for a great day's racing as well. But we're going to start things off the other way around now and get the Super M's up first. Second place today again in the Super M category, riding for the Red Mist Racing team on his KTM RC8. Let's get him up there. Johan Otto. Come on, make some noise, ladies and gents, for Super M. The big boss man is back on top again. Just hanging tough to get a cap there. You went too quickly to get the cap, big boss. There you go. Yes, that's your pillion. That's the fastest lady around here, I believe, eh? Ladies and gentlemen, Jacques van Vanckart, top of Super M today once again. Second place by Mr. Tim Cook. He's going to hand that to Johan Otto. And thanks for sticking around all day. NGL Logistics, Quentin de Villiers to top man, Jacques van Vanckart. Let's give them one big more round of applause there, ladies and gents, for our Super M category up top. Jacques, don't go too far away, because guess what, bud? I know this is going to sound really, really funny, but because Super M and Super GP are now combined, the rookie of the day goes to Jacques van Vanckart. So you can join the Pirelli girl there, just on the bottom, and receive the Rookie of the Day trophy now as you climb on top. So 2 trophies there for you, sir. Congratulations. Just going to wait till we get our champagne and trophies all ready to rock and roll. Fantastic recovery, I've got to say, for the man in third place. Wasn't the greatest of days, and he certainly had a better outing down in Cape Town. But riding for Medal Centre for Odin Power Sports and, of course, Honor Kawasaki. Let's hear it for the Black Knight himself, Brent Herron, third place. In second place, and looks like he was battling not only the Yamaha that was in front of him, the Yamahas behind, and the Kawasaki's, but also some of the elements with a broken windscreen by the looks of things there as a stone went through. Near Life Racing, powered by Yamaha's Evil Knievel. Clint Seller in second. And a massive double, and as I said in the commentary earlier on, if you didn't hear it, I think the championship has just been opened for business with Matthew, the Umhlanga Rocket Scholz, getting to the top of the podium for the second time today for MTech Racing, Nashua and Yamaha. Third place going to be handed out by Mark from Pirelli. That'll go to Brent Herron. Matthew, you're going to be in trouble, but Mom just told you to zip your zip up there, buddy. Keep it easy, Tiger. Second place, Quinton. Thank you very much from NGL Logistics, handing to Evil Knievel, Clinton Seller. And the fastest brother in Africa is going to hand out first place. Guguzulu from Gas Sports to Matthew Scholz. All right, please stay on the podium. Otherwise, we can't use it for TV. Matthew, you're gonna be cleaning the bike after this, buddy. Congratulations once again. Let's get him down here and find out how the day's gone. Brent, come and join me, big guy. Dude, we've had better days in the saddle, I know, but a consolidation is that you managed to eventually get a podium today.
Yeah, it just looked like nothing we could go our way this weekend. We had problems since Friday practice, you know. The Yamahas are looking really, really good. Yeah, congrats to Clint and Matthew. They're riding really, really fast. I mean, I think they were like 2 seconds under the lap record, so well done to them. But yeah, I've got to say a big thanks to my team, to Kawasaki, to Medal Centre, to KBD Paint Shop, Moroso Pipes, RD Racing, Odin Power Sports, 40 Wings. Everyone that's kept us here. It's a difficult weekend, but we got to scratch our heads and come back better at the next one.
I know you're going to, because I know that Dave's already working on a plan to make sure this bike goes better. Gav's going to make a plan. But heading into the next round down in Port Elizabeth, it's a track that you've really gone well at in the past when you're on 600s. So I think these boys will have to be a bit worried about that.
Oh, I haven't ridden the Superbike there, unfortunately, yet. But I know it is one of my favorite tracks in the 600. So hopefully luck takes a swing in our direction for once this season, and we can get a good result.
Awesome job, Evil. Well done, bud. Let's move on to second place. Evil, man, wow, did you have to do some work today? You had to get up in the first one, come back for a second. You had to fight the elements for a second place this time. That was a massive stone through the windscreen. Is that the reason for rolling off in the end?
Yeah, it's sort of the stone happened, I guess, about midway through the race or so, but it belted me in the chest and felt like I was back at school and someone gave me a lamey of note. So, yeah, my left hand sort of went like a little bit like a dead hand. So, missed gears, and then I just decided that you know, I don't want to go fall off the side of the thing in a left-hander. So, you know, Matthew's pace was unbelievable. So, for me, the risks were hugely elevated. He was riding awesome. So, congratulations to him. And, yeah, you know, next race we come back even stronger.
I know you thanked everybody in terms of the sponsors the last time, but I know we haven't had a chance to officially say congratulations. We wish you and the future Mrs. Evil Knievel all the very best. And, yeah, look forward to that one. Well done, bud. Good job. First place. Can we please get Mr. Scholz come and join me here? The Umhlanga Rocket is back in the house now. And officially, as I said, the championship has now been open for business. With a double victory on the day, you must be just oozing with confidence.
Yeah, you know, after the Saturday practice, I knew that we had quite a solid pace going, but I never knew that we could pull off the double victory. But yeah, I never thought that we'd be fighting for the championship, but after how today's been, I'm really hoping that they can carry on with this form and yeah, fight for the championship and be there all season long.
You've got about a month now to do a little bit more development on the bike. What else needs to be done? It looks like it's pretty much on song. I know Brandon's not quite there, but we're still on live, but we haven't gone to PA, but we're definitely still on the live streaming. Brandon's not quite on the pace that he'd like to be, and I'm sure the two of you will work hard to ensure that we get doubles for the team.
Yeah, KwaZulu-Natal are hosting one of their track days at Desi Raceway next weekend, and hopefully we'll be there setting up, getting a good base set up, so when we go to the next PE round, we can be back on pace and fighting for first place again.
Googs, you going to hand out the manufacturers, please? Congratulations, and once again, come on down. Let's have one more chat with Peter Wilkins from Yamaha. Pete, is exactly what you wanted. Unfortunately, Brandon, just losing out to the Kawasaki in the closing stages there, but nonetheless, overall on the day, a Yamaha victory.
Yeah, fantastic day for Yamaha. It's been great. It's great being back in racing again. It's great being on the podium. And yes, I'd just like to thank everyone for coming to view this event, and for the track for putting on a magnificent event. Red Star's outshone everyone, and I think it's a great event for everyone to come watch in future.
We're going down a PE. I know you got a couple of dealers down there that are now going to be itching to get involved.
Yeah. Definitely, we'll be strong down there from a spectator point of view and from dealer involvement. Thanks very much.
Congratulations once again.
The Diode SuperGP Champions Trophy is proudly brought to you by Digital Entertainment On Demand and their associate sponsors.